States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Grant,
Here.
Director Thompson.
Sure.
Director Clayton.
Here.
Director Adams.
Present.
Director Brown.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 1, minutes of the regular meeting held January 11th, 2021.
I'll read through those and make the motion that you approve.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Moving on to item number 2, committee reports.
Mr. President, your finance committee met on the 12th, about finance. And the real estate committee met on the 17th and talked ag leases. So there'll be more to follow on that subject in the future.
Any questions? Before we go? Moving on to item number 3, general manager's report.
Quick update, the G3 lease went to the city council on Tuesday 16th and was approved. So that was a big milestone for that group, and so we're really looking forward to it. Yourself and I and Tom Ross were able to attend the REACH Summit down in Goleta, which is a Central Coast economic development group, and had some those were pretty fantastic. A lot of players from Monterey to Santa Barbara working on economic development. So it's very good and informative.
I want to highlight too that there was a lot of aviation and aerospace focus.
I got to make noise to like the SpaceX.
Yeah.
So, hey, you woke me up Sunday morning. We had a meeting with SoCal Gas, just walking the pipeline issue and their planner and provided them with some information. So they're actively working on a ultimate solution to realign that gas line. Hopefully pick an alignment it's about outside the fence line. We attended Director Brown, myself, and Josh on Saturday attended the SWAHI conference. Saturday was the attorneys workshop, and we spent 8 hours learning all things airport attorney related. Some of it good, some of it affirming, like, wow, we actually maybe know what we're doing here, and some of it new that kind of, oh gosh, that FAA never stops. So that's something you're all going to be learning about, is a new thing called Section 163, how the FAA has a new process for determining whether something's aviation land use or non-aviation. It's more paperwork and bureaucracy than actually reality, but we're all going to have to. This starting tomorrow and through Sunday, there's a press release that says it's 10 days. I think that the whole thing is probably 10 days. Part here is just this weekend. There'll be a group from the U.S. Air Force that will be coming down out of Travis tomorrow morning around 11 on a I believe it's a C-130, and then in the afternoon, I believe it's around 3 or 4, and another C-130, maybe the same one, bringing in folks that do forward operating base security and operations, and they'll be over on the south side of the field near the Jet Center, simulating running a forward operating base. So that'll be Friday through what probably is Sunday. It's not check to get everything done. Anything that's makes noise will be wrapped up by 5 p.m. and they'll keep it down through the night. They'll probably still be out there doing stuff, but it reminds me of when I was in the service and we do things like this. I'm comfortable with what the impact's going to be, and we put the word out, so it should be not too much of a disturbance. So, and no aircraft are involved in the actual exercise other than delivering troop Air Force personnel here and back home. So yeah, from that.
Any questions? Moving on to item number 4, Manager of Finance and Union County Administration report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've provided the demand register for your review and approval.
I've read through it and I recommend we approve it.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
The other items are information only. I would like to draw your attention to the quarterly investment report. We are now investing in the class. California class, it's a different investment vehicle. And it's earning interest. It's earning more interest than we would receive from the LAIF at this time. We also have a delinquent tenant list for your information.
Many are delinquent.
There's a couple tenants who are delinquent. The list is on your iPad, but there's two. And the second one is delinquent with the non-airworthy fees. They're refusing to pay those.
Any other questions? Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, public session. Statements from the floor will be heard during the public session. Request to speak forms are provided for those wishing to address the board. After completing the form, please give it to the clerk. Requests requiring board action will be referred to staff and brought on the next appropriate agenda. Members of the public are cordially invited to speak on agenda items as they staff reports covering agenda items are available for review in the offices of the general manager on the Tuesday prior to each meeting. The board will establish a time limit for receipt of testimony, in this case, 3 minutes. The board reserves the right to establish further time limits for receipt of testimony. So we only have one right now. Tom Gibbs.
Don't throw anything, Tom, but come on up.
Good evening, Mr. President, board, staff. Room full of people keeping warm. This item has been off and on for quite a long time. The previous general manager dealt with it a number of times and signed off on it. And I can tell you that I looked at paperwork when it's handed to me, and it finally ended up in court, and it was during a time when the aircraft was locked up in 3029B and nobody could get in there and work on it. So this has kind of been one of those, looks like a ball that's been kicked around a bunch of times. One of the documents that I looked at came from your office where they set aside rent payment, and with a little note that the rent payments weren't collected because this was in the court. Well, the owner of this aircraft went and got a document from an attorney that for the court had been done with this thing. So here it is, kind of coming along again, and it looks like there's gonna be some conversation. And I would hope that the folks on this side of the fence look at the history of it and be very careful, because I know this poor guy on the other end is just kind of sick over the whole thing. These are the kind of things that are making a lot of people like myself. I was gonna get a couple of phone hangers and I put my money somewhere else where it makes money. I don't want to get treated like this. But I'll tell you, I've watched this one, every piece of paper from the very beginning. But just, we wanna treat these people like they're someone that we like, not someone that we're trying to get rid of. That's what it seems like. That's my vision from where I'm looking at it. I want to thank you very much for this evening. And go back here and keep life going.
Thanks, a little while. Anyone else? Everyone? Moving on to item number 6, presentation by Jane Hinton, Plains of Fame Air Museum regarding the 2023 and 2024 Central Coast Air Fest.
Hello, I'm Jane Hinton with Plains Fame, and this is Steve Hinton, the museum president. And first off, we'd like to say thank you to the board for supporting the 2023 Central Coast Air Fest, and you had a great staff. It was wonderful to work with you, and we have a community of people here that really care. We had I think over 150 volunteers come out to make the show a success, and dozens of sponsors that supported the show, and so it was a real effort. You know, I don't want to say Plains Fame did it. It was definitely a community-driven event, which was great. It was a record-breaking attendance year. Over 21,000 people showed up. Of that, we estimate about 5,000 were students aged 16 and younger that attended the show. We also had the opportunity, in partnership with the U.S. Air Force Heritage Flight Foundation and Project Recover, to put on a program called Skyward Bound the few days before the Air Fest. And Nash, special thanks to Nash for being a student mentor during that program. Well over 100 students were a part of that, showing careers in aviation and then what we can do. So we're trying to expand from not just a show, but also having educational, and we had a veterans appreciation tent and things like that. So all in all, really well received show. We only had a couple of negative feedback, always a couple noise complaints. So you can't do an air show without a couple of those, and a couple of comments about the security, you know, being a little harsh about getting their Starbucks coffee or whatever. But all in all, very well received show. We were hoping to break even on our first year. We did not, but we our loss was within the contingency that we had set aside for the show, and we feel that we fulfilled our mission of inspiring interest in aviation and all the great things that come along with it. So we learned a lot, and it was a all in all great show. Chris, Steve, anything to add? And 2024, we're just starting to get into the planning of that. Save the date for September 21st and 22nd. The show has been traditionally in October, but we moved it up to not conflict with some other larger shows and things. So for a variety of reasons, it's in September this year. And we anticipate moving forward for 2025, it would also be in September. Air Force is on board, Navy's on board. I believe the Marines are also going to be maybe bringing Osprey again, but we haven't really gotten into all the acts and show planning. It's just more of the preliminary bits. So all in all, Air Fest was great. The museum build project, just to kind of tangent, talk about that a little bit. We are actually going to start putting up a fence on our property next week. The construction of that, the TSA finally approved it. Thank you, airport helping out with that through. And so once that fence is up, we'll be delivering, I think, about 5 semi-trucks of steel. So the fabrication of our building is taking place on site, and we're staging for construction. So all in all, going really well. We're down to literally the final item with the city to get the permitting process to the next phase, and everything's been really great. The city's been wonderful to work with as well, so everything's really positive there. Yeah, anything you want to add about that? Anything else you guys want to hear about while we're here? All right.
You have a start date, possible start date for construction?
For the actual construction, is contingent on getting the permits from the city, essentially. So what we've been told is we've now been working with them for over a year on the pre-application stage of going through 24 pages of comments and getting it down to one little thing we got to iron out. So by the time we get into application review, it should go fairly quickly, is what we've been told. So we're hoping March is our current target for ground break of over-Xing the building paths. And hopefully that's when it will happen, but until we have those permits, we don't know.
But you built by inside the 24 Airfest?
I'll be built in time for an airplane. 24, 25, we'll see.
So, it's always this direction, so I wanna.
Yeah, I would anticipate at least the shell of the building being up. I don't think we'll have certificate of occupancy by then, but, certainly we will be well under construction at that time. So,
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, we've been fundraising really hard. We've raised about 9.4 of the 12 million that we need for the project. And we anticipate getting the rest of that this year with our donors. Yeah, very positive, and we'll let you know when we do. We'll all pop the champagne together, but, yeah, that's correct.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to item number 7, selection of LAFCO regular special district member and authorization for the president to vote for selectee by mail-in ballot.
I'm gonna recommend that we go with, Craig Dyer.
Craig, I also recommend that we go with Craig. Craig actually reached out to me. He was the only one that reached out to me.
I'm the third one on that. I'll fourth it.
Yeah, no problem, Craig.
All right, so it's on, we're all in common consensus that we're gonna.
Do we need to make a motion where he's allowed to do this, what are we gonna do?
We do motion second.
Okay, I'll make a motion that Nash is authorized to check Craig Geyer's name and submit the vote.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and do a vote. Or should we just do an authorization?
We'll do both.
Vote? Yeah.
President Morano,
Yeah, yes.
Director Basket,
Yes.
Director Clayton.
Yes.
Director Adams.
Yes.
Director Brown.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item number 8, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the first addendum to ground lease between the district and Central Coast Jetson.
I'll make the motion, we approve it.
I'll second that. You should probably hear it first.
I want to hear what this is about.
I'll start, but I will quickly be out of my depth, and we have our attorney here. The Jet Center is making some changes in ownership arrangements. It requires some funding and legal opportunity. She could object to it, but we reviewed the contract. Josh has seems completely appropriate and acceptable, and I think in everyone's best interest.
So we got a motion and a second, so we'll go ahead and do authorizations. All in favor? Moving on to item number 9, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the first collateral assignment of lease between the district and the Central Coast Jetson.
Same story.
Motion to approve. Okay.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Item number 10, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the second addendum to ground lease between the district and Central Coast Jetson.
Again,
I'll make a motion, Jim.
these are all documents in the same effort.
I'll second that motion.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, authorization for the president and secretary to execute the second collateral assignment of lease between the district and the Central Coast Jetson.
Make a motion to approve it. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? And number 12, authorization for 2 staff members and 1 director to attend the Roots America Air Service Development Conference to be held March 19th through 21st, 2024 in Bogota, Colombia.
Mr. President, Roots America is a program that we participate. I've been to one already, so it's something I think we do recurrently. This one is unique that it's out of the country. I think cost-wise, it's comparable to going to the East Coast. We meet with airlines and talk about airline service development. The one wrinkle in this is I think there might be an opportunity, if permitted, to possibly arrange some meetings with general aviation folks in that area and start talking about our services for as a general aviation customs facility. And then maybe make some inroads into South American process.
I'd make
I have a
I would
question.
support that with.
How many meetings do you
caveat.
have set up with airlines right now?
We haven't set up any yet, because,
So you have absolutely nobody that you know you're gonna talk to.
oh, I don't.
We don't know until we register, and then we start the meet and match, and then there's dates as we go along to find out. They're still getting, attendance, and then there's certain milestones as you progress towards the conference of what your meetings are.
Right, so which airlines would you key in on?
They have the last year's list. There's opportunity to meet with American again.
American was there.
In front of me. Allegiant's there, some of the smaller carriers that probably don't want to talk to, like, Southern. I know they've attended in the past. I could provide you the
Well, Sun Country's there, they plan it out here, they're not gonna do it, Frontier will be down there. American's down there, Delta's down there, Alaska's down there.
It's, American Southwest, United, KLM, Allegiant, Frontier, and that's just on the front page right
So
there.
here's my question on this, so we approved this, and our budget's at $2,500 for travel expense. We have meeting hunt coming up,
it's already budgeted.
okay, we have, what's the other one?
That's the unbudgeted amount. So this would take us to the end of our permitted, so under our current budget, our current approved travel.
What is the same meeting here in the United States? I got a real problem with sending people.
There's one in,
It's one in
February,
Milwaukee.
there's one in Green Bay coming up this fall.
I'd be much happier sending people down.
It's whatever the one thing that would be different is the angle that we have opportunity to speak with, aviation community.
Yeah, but you know, I've been to these before, and there's not really general aviation community at these.
They wouldn't be as that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine that's from Columbia, and I asked him, I'll say this. He says, you need to have a local staying with you the whole time. You guys aren't gonna have.
I don't think you leave the airport. The hotel's right there.
yeah, it's probably the whole thing. Yeah, I can't see. That's my, unless we know that we have meetings set up, and what are you doing for presentation?
But we have it in the bag. We can do a presentation.
Doing, we reach out to our development people and get them on board, or where they have the connections to set the meetings up with the airlines?
It's all, once we register, we start with that process. And yes, the presentation is ready.
So what if we don't get any meetings with any airlines? Are we out to $1,900 per person registration fee?
I've never been to one where we haven't had a meeting, but I
Yeah.
can look at,
Some unknowns for us. This is a new thing for us.
I make a motion, we approve it for the simple reason, it's a chance to fly the flag at Sunray Airport. At another location, another venue, and a future country where we're likely to have some air connection with either the business planes coming in, hopefully with nothing in the way of, chemicals in them that we don't want. But I believe it's a good chance to get out there, show the flag, and we'll be opening this UFC. And there'll be business planes there, among other things that are traveling all over the world, and I think it's a chance for this airport to show its flag there, so I would support it.
If you could sway Frontier, come back over just to flights to LA or something, that'd be huge, just to get Frontier back over. Just going down there for that alone would be worth it. Just to get one place to bite on us to come back over and sign up would be worth the trip. But I also share the thing with Steve. Man, how much are you expecting us to pay in ransom money to bring you to back? Just in case, I mean, we are not. I mean, let's stay there.
I've traveled in a van through Ethiopia and Kenya.
Here's what I mean, a month down the road, we got the Meeting Hut conference, and another 30 days, and then we have Jumpstart, which are the same airlines that are gonna be there. I mean, I think that is gonna be a more international type program, what we really need to concentrate on is our domestic flights to handle our population that we have here in San Juan. International is not gonna do it, plus we don't have the custom set up to do it, but that's my opinion.
Let's go and do a vote.
We're gonna have a sexy one.
Oh. Did we get a motion in a second to take a vote? Need a motion in a second to go?
You, and, Martin, if I can say, you think it's worthwhile to go do that, don't you?
I can come back and say, yeah, you're wrong, you're right. But the one thing that sells me on this is, it's like the only chance we have to actually go somewhere. And, because I've already looked at, there are corporate aircraft companies that are managed in Bogota. They fly into the US all the time. So if we could pull off a meeting with them, that could probably be more valuable than going to the air service, though.
Okay, I'll second.
That's my only, and could I come back? And if it's a bus, that's a possibility.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion in a second, so let's go ahead and,
President Moreno,
yes.
Director Vasquez,
Yes,
Director Clayton,
Yes.
Director Adams,
No,
Director Brown,
No, this is gonna be the same thing as the last.
All right, let's go ahead and take,
before we go, I'd like to see a list of the airlines that we're.
let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break and we'll go into closed session. We're exiting closed session with no reportable actions. Moving on to item number 14, director's comment. Go ahead and start with David.
a couple of things. We used to have, from time to time, anybody hear me?
Yes.
I'll wait for anybody to sit down if they're interested. We used to have from time to time, crime reports for crimes that happened on the airport when things got quiet for a while. I was informed today that we've had 2 more crimes on the airport. That out there in the parking lot, somebody twice now, the last one was last night, from what I understand, gone out to one of the pickups out there, Ford pickups, cut the fuel line and bring. My suggestion is, comment is, we should put cameras out there and cover the complete area where the public comes in, so we know what's going on, as a way to reduce this problem. And that's my comment for the evening.
Go ahead. Dave.
No, but I better quit while I'm still late ahead.
We're heading in the right direction. We can see the end line. We can see the goal line that's down there. It's just all the steps in between to get there. It's so appreciating the staff and where you gotta go in the next couple of weeks to get us where we gotta go is a monumental hurdle that we're gonna overcome and move forward. So I'm very hopeful, and I think that the future is gonna be us, and we're gonna move forward. So good luck on what you guys have gotta do, and go from there. That's my comment.
I was reached out to by the Leadership Academy, and they would like to tour, so we've been working on that. Which is actually great, I'm working with sort of the airport, and especially future leaders, that's fantastic. I've also reached out by, again, there's a government class that would like to learn more about special districts and how they learn and everything like that, so we're talking to them as well, set up tour lead. And that's my comment.
Yeah, we had directors comments at our last meeting, and one of our directors was comparing us to another board that they sit on and how cohesive it is and how it works together. Which this board usually works pretty good, and we usually go in a direction. But we have a director that uses his position in the board to grant his personal vendettas on people, which I'm not doing by, which makes it non-cohesive. And it makes it to the point where we're not going in a certain direction. I mean, if we can get to a point where we can all work together, I think we can accomplish a whole lot more. That's my comment.
I have no comment.
I make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next
talk to you real quick, Mr. President?
Sure.